Tonight in the debate, senior McCain campaign advisor NICOLE WALLACE. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you.
Hi, David.
So here's the backdrop tonight. Governor Palin has been criticized in these recent interviews for not having command of issues, appearing not to understand complex issues. And then there's the polling. 6 in 10 voters see her lacking the experience to be an effective president, and a third are now less likely to vote for McCain because of her. What happened?
Well, there's polls and there's pundits and then there's the people, David. And tonight you'll see someone who speaks right to the heart of the American people's angst about everything that's gone wrong in this economy. This is someone that isn't going to speak as someone who's had a front row seat to the policy debates in Washington for the last 30 years. This is going to be someone who speaks as someone who has been affected by those debates. Tax hikes don't just, go up and down. They're not things that she uses to score political points. They affect her family's bank account. Health insurance, another issue that she doesn't debate in the halls of the Senate, but she knows what it's like to not have health insurance. So I think that Governor Palin will be viewed as the threat that she is to Barack Obama and Joe Biden. I think she'll make clear that their positions are so far out of the mainstream and that their ideas are frankly terrible for America's economy and America's working families.
Do you concede that she's stumbled in the past couple of weeks?
I don't concede anything. I think pundits have their views, and I think they're entitled to their views. They get paid to pontificate, but I think voters get to have their say on Election Day. And I think, we all do our best to guess and figure out what they're going to do, but they're the only ones who, have a real vote or a real say in all this. So I understand that reviews come and go, and sometimes you're up in the polls, sometimes you're down, but, she's a fighter and she's feisty and she's tough. I just saw her before I came over here, and I think she's going to have a great night. She will not stand there as someone who has participated in the policy debates in the U.S. Senate for 30 years.
Nicole,
that's not been her life.
Is she going to go on the offense tonight? There's been reporting this afternoon that she plans to go on the attack, specifically on foreign policy and on positions on taxes that Biden has taken. Is that the strategy, to take that fight directly to him?
The strategy is to make perfectly clear, abundantly clear, that the ideas that Barack Obama has for this country's economy would wreck it. That tax increases and turning over our health care decisions to bureaucrats would move this country backward, would install government as a big unwelcome force in American people's lives, and I think she'll stick to the issues.
Let me ask you another question about experience. This was Senator McCain back in October of 2007 in a Republican debate. Watch this.
I am prepared. I am prepared, need no on-the-job training. I wasn't a mayor for a short period of time. I wasn't a governor for a short period of time. For 20-some years, including leading the largest squadron in the United States Navy, I led. I didn't manage for profit. I led for patriotism.
Now, Nicole, when he was talking about a mayor and governor, he wasn't talking about Governor Palin, but the reality is he could have been. How does he square that view with his recent defense of Governor Palin, comparing her to Governor Clinton and Ronald Reagan in experience?
Well, first of all, in that clip you just played, he also talked about leading, and I think we saw John McCain do just that over the last week. He has really led at a moment of crisis for our nation's economy, so I love a whole lot of things about that clip. Now, on your question, it is not debatable that she brings the same executive experience to the ticket that Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton brought. It is not debatable that they, too, were underestimated. So I don't think there's much to debate about whether her experience is in line with that of Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton. They were governors.
He criticized his Republican opponents because they had been a governor for a short period of time and a mayor for a short period of time, and said what he had was real experience. He could have been talking about Governor Palin.
Well, look, lots of things are said in a primary, and I think that Joe Biden, attacked Barack Obama more viciously than anyone else on the Democratic side. So if we're going to spend as much time talking about how Barack Obama was attacked by Joe Biden for voting against funds for our troops, then that's fine. We can dissect everything John McCain said in the primary. But the truth is, she has experience. She has executive experience, and everyone likes to talk about doing something to put this country on the path toward energy independence. Sarah Palin is actually from an energy-producing state, and I travel all over this country, David. People care a lot about moving this country toward energy independence. Sarah Palin has done it, and she will do it as vice president.
Again, talking about leadership here and not being part of Washington. God forbid if America would be attacked again as it was on 9/11 and President McCain were outside the White House and Vice President Palin were inside the White House as Dick Cheney was. Based on what should Americans feel comfortable with her in a role similar to Dick Cheney had managing 9/11?
Well, look, let me make sure I understand your question. How do we guarantee people that she will be someone they are as comfortable with as they are comfortable with Dick Cheney?
I mean, the question is, as Cheney was in a position where he had to do a lot of management of that crisis on 9/11 and had a lot of experience to do that. Based on what I'm asking, should Americans feel confident that she could play a similar role if, God forbid, something should happen again?
Sure. Well, I was in the White House on that day, too, and I know you covered the White House on that day, David, and you know that that was really a day that nobody, not you, not me, not anybody has ever prepared for. But it's a day when instincts matter, and you must see, and clarity matters. And so this is a woman who sees the world as John McCain sees it, understands the threats we face as a nation, and she has said she will not blink. She is from a military family herself, so she understands the sacrifices being made to protect America, and she will do, nothing. She will not hesitate or blink to protect this country. So I think that people can be assured that she is ready to lead and that she sees the world as John McCain does.
What has been unfair in the treatment of her, do you think?
I think that the interviews she's done, the questions have certainly been above board. I think that, she's spoken to some of the most respected figures in American journalism. It's what happened afterward. It's what happened when, no offense, present company excluded, but when the maniacs on cable news got a hold of it. They ripped this woman to shreds like I've never seen anyone dig their teeth into a politician, alive or dead. And, look, voters take that into account, and we don't have time to waste for 33 days out from the election, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. But I think voters have taken notice that no woman, no candidate has been treated the way this woman and her children. I mean, her 17-year-old daughter has been ripped apart by the American media. So, I think there are a lot of things to be embarrassed about for all of us in politics and in media, and especially in cable news. But I think this is a woman she's got the heart of a reformer. She's got spunk. She's feisty, and she's been the chief executive of a state that does a whole lot of good when it comes to producing energy and moving America toward energy independence.
Finally, Nicole, in Al Gore and in Dick Cheney, we've seen the power of the vice president on the ascent. What will Governor Palin say tonight about the kind of influence that she would expect to have in a McCain White House?
Well, listen, we don't have our own seal yet, but Senator McCain and Governor Palin have already talked about how they would divide responsibilities in a McCain-Palin White House, and they're both very excited about it, should they be honored enough to serve. She would, as we've talked about, take on this issue of energy independence. She would work on the reform agenda that she's run up in Alaska. She's taken on entrenched special interests. She's cut spending. She's slashed her budget. She's, where she has led in Alaska, she'll replicate some of those things at a national stage. And then she'll work to serve as an advocate for families with special needs kids. It's obviously an issue near and dear to her heart.
All right,
so I think she already has a pretty clear plate and full plate for a McCain-Palin administration.
All right, Nicole Wallace, always good to talk to you. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, David.
Coming next, a conservative columnist who has called for Governor